I know, folks. I know. I just did a video. Solar Wolf back here again. The reason why I'm back, folks, we are taking a look at our hemispheric power. We can see that we are at 45 gigawatts. That is a very good indicator of arrival. KP index is up to a 4. But I actually happen to know that it arrived. I actually have a little show for you. I want you guys to see something. And we were at spaceweatherlive.com. Now we are over at spaceweatherpredictioncenter.noaa.gov. We are going to watch the arrival of the solar winds with the plasma. We're basically going to watch this storm come into play, going all nice and fine and calm and relaxed, and then the freight train comes. You ready? Boom! Look at that. So, we did have our arrival. Let's go ahead and actually, we'll back this baby up. Let's see if we can get an actual time on it. That's a nice thing about this, is that we can get a good little timestamp. See that wall? It's literally like a freight train, like a brick wall. Boom. I'd say right about there. Right about there is where it's equal with hitting impact of the Earth. So that would be, hey, 2:30 a.m. UTC. That's not bad. I do gotta say, they made a pretty good prediction. They predicted for 3 a.m. and it's 2:30 UTC. That's pretty good, folks. To be within 30 minutes, that's damn near spot on perfect. Let's be honest here. That was pretty good on them. I gotta give it to them. They did pretty good with that. Good for you guys. So let's go ahead and down here and let's check our density. Let's see what happens with our density when it arrives. Let's see here. And poof. Oh, goodness gracious. If we were wearing a skirt, we just lost it. It looks like the skirt just got ripped off. Where'd she go? Wow. Actually, if you look at this and you turn your head to the right, almost looks like a planet with wings, doesn't it? Like Nibiru. That's actually kind of interesting. Just an observation that I made, folks. That's all. So let's go ahead and let's go down here and let's check our pressure. This is what I wanted to show you guys, was the pressure. These three here. This is all provided by University of Michigan. Go Wolverines. I'm a Wolverines fan. So this is where it gets interesting. I'm actually going to play this, I'll back it up a little bit. So as we can see, it's just pretty nice and calm. Notice where the bow shock is. See here, the bow? We're right here, right about 10. This bugger jumps all the way back here to 30. Watch this. Bam! Do you see that initial shock? Look at that. All the way back there to 30. 30 from 10. Now do you see what I mean? Now you see it on. Now it's like the heat is on. It's on the streets. Yeah, so the heat and the pressure, it is definitely on. But as you can see, folks, you can see our geomagnetic shield. It's doing just fine. Okay, this again, light side is the day side. Dark side is the dark side of, of the Earth. Sun is over here at the 0. Same with here. So, yeah, we're actually taking this pretty good. Pretty impressive, right, folks? Now, just to reiterate, this is not the end of the world, okay? This is only an X 1.38. It's never been an Earth ender, okay? I will say this, though. With what we're taking now, with the arrival of this, with the X flare and that coming behind it, hitting us on the second, between the second and the third, that can cause some power outages. It's possible. If the Earth's geomagnetic field or shields, our shields, if you will, if they don't recover in time, by the time it hits us, it's going to be a decent impact. A 1-2, like I've said, the double tap or the triple tap punch is worse than having one big flare, because when it actually snaps, you snap one band off that comes around to form the Earth. Here, let's go back. Let's show you that. Okay, so this is here what we're looking at. I kind of got it set up for us. So this is what we're looking at here. This is the day side. This is the nighttime side of the Earth. Okay, this is our geomagnetic shield, and this is our pressure. Now, what I'm talking about here, as far as the recovery goes, let's go over to here. Okay, let's see the sun, and it's throwing a flare at the Earth. Okay, and we've got our bow shock, right? We've seen our bow shock right here. That's what we're seeing right here. That's this outer edge here, the bow shock. Okay, so what happens is when you get that initial shock, this outer band will snap and it will come back to here. Okay, now the Earth has to have a constant. It will recover itself. It'll have, like, let's just say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 bands on the backside. Okay, because it's going to be a perfect torus field, like a donut, so it's going to have equal amounts. Well, when one pops and it comes back over here, it will slowly make its way back in, so that this side can push its way out, if that makes any sense. It's about the best way I can really explain it. Yeah, so here we got bow shock again, and so you can see this one here, like I was saying, it snaps, and then it'll come back around, and they're actually kind of showing you how it actually kind of works, and it'll come back around here, boop, and it'll connect, and then these two will actually, then one will actually move in like this, so that way it balances itself out. Okay, so once again, we're going to look at this, and we can see this going on here. We've got our inner ones, and it's working, and it's holding just fine. Let's take a peek at this here. You can kind of see it in action a little bit. So you can kind of see it, then all of a sudden, whoosh! You see the impact, and the magnetic field is kind of bouncing around back and forth. That's when we see our BZ and our BT kind of bouncing all over the place. Speaking of that, let's go take a look at that. And just a quick look, we can see that BZ and BT is definitely below -6 for our BZ, so we are definitely in event mode. In fact, actually looking like we're bouncing right around 12 and positive 12. So yep, definitely have an event mode, but back to the fun stuff. And I did happen to notice that our KP index, we are now up to a 5, so on our way. Yippee-ki-yay, right? So I did find this, though. This is pretty much a really good rendition of how this works. So the sun pops off a flare, right? And it comes over to hit us. Watch this one. Boom. See how it pops off and goes to the back, and then it kind of comes back in? That's about the best that I could find to really represent that for you folks. So that's why having, one after another, even if they're, let's say that they're all, medium-sized C flares. If you just keep getting one after another, it's going to eventually, start snapping these, but we're going to start having serious problems. So, but it's not a life ender. It's just something to keep in mind. So instead of oh, they're just, we only got 5 C flares. Well, remember, we had a bunch of C flares the other day. Remember, we had 6 M flares and 11 C flares, and now we got this bad boy. Come on now, let's start thinking. You're catching my drift. I know you smell what I'm stepping in, folks. Eyes open, no fear. Remember that love is the only way forward. Solar Wolf out.